And we have breaking news for you at 5 o'clock. Stu Mundell has breaking news over the Pacific Palisades.
Pacific Coast Highway. You can see LA City Fire here on scene. A vehicle apparently on Pacific Coast Highway somehow crashed into this parking lot, overturning. Now, the driver of that vehicle seems to be okay, talking to the fire department, walking around, but apparently there was a bicyclist involved also. Now, that bicyclist struck by the vehicle when it overturned. That bicyclist in critical condition taken to a local hospital. LA City Fire still here on scene. You can see that the PCH at this time moving freely. We're very close to sunset in the Palisades. Live in Sky 2, I'm Stu Mundell. Back to you in the studio.
Oh man, that's quite a trip. Stu, thank you very much. And marching toward a strike. With the clock ticking toward the deadline, the dispute between LA teachers and the district heads to court, with parents and students caught right in the middle. We're now just a day and a half away from a potential strike by LA's teachers union.
Yes, last-ditch negotiations are scheduled for tomorrow. As for today, both sides made their cases to the public and to a judge. CBS 2's Randy Page is live in downtown LA with more information. Randy.
Well, Pat, Jeff, the issue before a Superior Court judge is, did the teachers union, UTLA, give the district a full 10 days notice before a strike could happen? That's the issue before the court. We're still waiting to hear. So that simply means that a strike could happen as soon as Thursday, that's the day after tomorrow, or it could go into next week. How does Mayor Eric Garcetti feel about all of this?
There's not a lot that separates them. People want lower class sizes. People want fair pay. People also want to make sure that there's support in our schools.
Mayor Eric Garcetti today striking a hopeful tone while acknowledging a strike could be imminent.
Could this be a long strike?
It could be. It really depends on the leadership, both sides of the union and of the administration. And like I said, without betraying any of the confidential negotiations, I think real progress was made yesterday. Still many steps to go, but after a long time of them never really talking to each other for months, I think that conversation has finally started.
While the students are back in school this week after a long holiday break, lawyers for the teachers union were in court today, trying to clear the way for a strike that could happen as soon as Thursday.
LAUSD put a proposal across the table that is inadequate.
After a full day of negotiation yesterday, UTLA President Alice Caputo Pearl said the district's proposal was not acceptable in areas of teacher pay, health benefits, support staff, including school nurses and counselors, and class sizes.
He's speaking to a broader audience than LAUSD.
USC education professor Julie Marsh says the teachers union is speaking not only to the LAUSD administration, but also to the new governor, Gavin Newsom, and state legislators about the imperatives needed for public education.
I see the strike as being beyond just a local issue. They're pushing at a state level changes and speaking to the audience in Sacramento around funding, staffing, and what's perceived to be a threat to public school education, which is the growth of charter schools.
I spoke to a former school board member who said the elephant in the room in these negotiations is this whole issue of charter versus public schools. We should also point out that the mayor said to me today that they've been working since September, knowing there could be a possible strike. And Pat, Jeff, the mayor said that they're prepared for that as best as they can. They're extending hours for local libraries and also rec centers. There are more LAPD available. They want to try to make sure there are safe places for these kids to go if there is a strike. But also the mayor said this can't go on for long, and he and of course everyone is hoping if there's a strike, it won't last long. Live in downtown Los Angeles, Randy Page, CBS 2 News.
He had a lot of sentiments on that note, Randy. Thank you. Well, today the school board cleared the way for more parents to help out at school if a strike is called.
The board voted to temporarily change the rules on how volunteers are vetted. Now, normally all volunteers have to complete background checks with the Department of Justice. They have to be fingerprinted as well. Now those restrictions are going to be eased a little bit. While some parents supported the move, others at today's meeting said that raises new safety concerns if teachers do end up going on a strike. So with all that in mind, we want to know what a teacher strike would do to you and your family.
Well, if LAUSD teachers walk off the job, will you send your kids to school or will you keep them at home? Go to our website, cbsla.com. Tell us about your situation. You can also share your story on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. And while you're there, take our interactive poll about the looming walkout.
Yeah, well, we're talking about a little paralysis here. It is day 18 of the partial government shutdown.
And tonight, both sides will be on national TV. President Trump will address the nation from the Oval Office at 6 o'clock, and we will carry that address live right here on CBS2.
We're also going to carry the rebuttal from California Congresswoman, Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, along with Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer. The president wants billions for his border wall.
The Democrats don't want to give it to him. CBS2 political reporter Dave Bryan is here with both sides, and they're dug in, Dave, the supporters and opponents of the president.
That's right.
So what is he hoping to accomplish in tonight's speech?
Well, this could actually be one of the most important addresses of President Trump's first term. No question about it. This is all about President Trump appealing to his base and making good on his campaign promise to build the wall, no matter what it takes, even a government shutdown. There are indications the president may change strategy and could declare a national emergency, which could allow him to bypass the congressional funding fight. But tonight, CNN is reporting that if the president goes the national emergency route, he will likely not make that announcement during tonight's speech. As President Trump prepares to address the nation to make his pitch for a border wall, the White House spin machine is in overdrive. Vice President Mike Pence is repeating the suggestion that the wall is needed because of the thousands of possible terrorists trying to make their way into the country.
Nearly 4,000 known or suspected terrorists were apprehended attempting to come into the United States through various means in the last year.
But CNN reports it's only a tiny fraction of that, just 12 between October 2017 to 2018. The vast majority of those on the government's terror watch lists are stopped at airports, contrary to what Press Secretary Sarah Sanders was telling the public.
They're not coming across the southern border, Sarah. They're coming and they're being stopped at airports.
They're coming a number of ways. They're certainly, I'm not disagreeing with you that they're coming through airports.
The White House conceded Sanders had her facts wrong.
That was an unfortunate misstatement, and everybody makes mistakes, all of us. The fact is, it's corrected here.
That led to this heated exchange between CNN correspondent Jim Acosta and White House counselor Kellyanne Conway.
Can you guarantee that the president's speech will pass a fact check?
Let me get back in your face, because you're such a smart most of the time, and I know you want this to go viral. A lot of these people don't like you.
The White House also struggled to explain what the president meant when he said some of his predecessors also wanted a wall.
This should have been done by all of the presidents that preceded me, and they all know it. Some of them have told me that we should have done it.
All of the living ex-presidents have denied that claim or released statements showing their opposition to a wall.
I know the president has said that that was his impression from previous administrations, previous presidents.
Who's going to pay for the wall?
After once promising Mexico would pay for the wall, the president is expected to describe the situation at the border as a growing humanitarian and national security crisis, despite recent studies that show the number of undocumented immigrants has declined in recent years. So the president's speech is coming up at 6 o'clock, and Vice President Pence is following up on this issue, meeting with Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill, since Democrats seem united in their opposition to the border wall funding plan. Pat, back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Dave. And a special delivery to the White House, courtesy of two California Congress members. Jackie Spear of San Mateo and Jared Huffman of San Rafael dropped off trash they picked up at shuttered national parks in their districts this weekend. The Democrats called on President Trump to end the partial government shutdown, citing the impact on national security and the parks. And coming up in our second half hour, more shutdown fallout. Joshua Tree National Park will temporarily close beginning Thursday so park staff can clean, sanitize, and deal with safety issues. Volunteers had been trying to keep the park open, but they became overwhelmed. So we will take a look at the mess left behind.
The search is on for a hit-and-run driver who took the life of a grandfather in Long Beach. Detectives hope that video you're looking at right there will lead to an arrest. CBS 2's Michelle Gili is live at the spot where Elias Sanchez was struck. Michelle.
And we have new video that could be very helpful to this investigation, to police as well as to a grieving family. Now, police are saying that Elias Sanchez had a green light. He was crossing here in this crosswalk. He almost made it to the halfway point there where you see that spray paint when he was run over. The hunt is on for the driver.
I guess in check. I'm still in check.
Video captured Elias Sanchez walking home on South Street in Long Beach Monday night. A few minutes later, the father and grandfather was killed in the crosswalk by a hit-and-run driver who's still on the loose.
Well, I wish, the man that did it, I wish he'd turn in. I hope, he's got some kind of remorse, and turn himself in.
In the video, a white van passes by on South Street a minute later that appears to be the one police say ran Sanchez down. The camera shows the driver turning right on Paramount Boulevard. According to authorities, the 79-year-old was hit and dragged nearly 1,000 feet. The driver, police say, did not stop to help him, and a second car then hit him as he lay in the street. The grieving children, friends and relatives of Elias Sanchez, came to the same intersection this afternoon and left flowers. Through their tears, they told me how their dad missed the bus last night and instead walked home for miles from Men's Warehouse, where he is a tailor. Kind-hearted and well-dressed, Sanchez began his career in the U.S. at JCPenney's. His loved ones shared that one of his sons worried when his father didn't answer his cell phone last night. After tracking him to Paramount Boulevard using the phone's GPS, he came upon the scene and officers broke the news that Elias Sanchez had been killed. Now, there is not a clear description of the make or the model of the van, although Long Beach police officers do say that a witness told them that there was some sort of green writing, perhaps a decal on the back of that white van, as well as a ladder. Police did put out a press release saying that the van could be old, a 70s, 1970s, 1980s, perhaps a Chevy or a Ford. We also shared our video with some auto experts, and they say by the looks of it, this could be a Ford Econoline, maybe late 1990s or 2000s. That's the latest live here in Long Beach. I'm Michelle Geely. Back to you.
Michelle, thanks very much. We have a murder mystery in Pico Rivera. Detectives say that a fight broke out at a tree nursery business on Lodocina Lane early this morning. One man was stabbed to death. Another had to be rushed to a hospital. Witnesses told officers they saw two men running from the crime scene. So, of course, detectives are trying to find those two guys.
Well, an 8-hour SWAT standoff in Long Beach ended with the suspect in handcuffs. Police tried to pull him over early this morning for failure to yield, but the suspect just took off. We're told he crashed into a yard on Lime Street near 56th and took off on foot. SWAT was called in to find him, and they did, hiding in the back of a house. They also discovered there was a warrant out for his arrest.
Homicide suspects in custody after leading police on a pursuit. It went from Anaheim to Solana Beach. Officers attempted to stop the driver this morning about 7:30 on Magnolia Street in Anaheim. That's when he took off, leading police on a pursuit down the 5 until he got to Solana Beach. Police say the suspect then jumped out of the car, and that's when he was promptly grabbed by police, taken into custody. He was wanted in connection with a deadly gang-related shooting Christmas Eve.
And Sky 2 was over the end of a pursuit in Carson today. The chase started in San Pedro with a 911 call about an assault. It ended with a crash on Torrance Boulevard near the 110. A woman in the car has minor injuries.
I love it when Google does this. So Google today, and you're going to see West Side Pavilion.
That's not what you did there. Up next, we'll have details on Google's new deal to take over that popular mall.
You're gonna have to climb out. Oh my God. Come on.
Trapped in a sinking car, deputies risked their lives to save a woman and her blind mom after they crashed into that lake.
And a sliding scare for school kids when their bus hits a big patch of ice.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Wow, look at this, a Blue Ridge camera. Gorgeous sunset. Ooh. There is rain on the way. We'll tell you all about it coming up.